Go ahead. I lived in San Francisco for many years during the Harvey Milk times. This is when the police would come into the gay neighborhood and beat us up and destroy and break windows, destroy our cars, okay? So at a certain point, the Pride Parade said no police for the parade. We policed ourselves. However, since then, because of so much coalition building, the police force is now has all minorities in it, and police are welcome. Police are what we need to do. This is what we need to do.
I just want to validate. I just want to validate that, like in any family, there is a balance. Yes. Okay. And we have to be open to accept that. Yes. That in organizations, there is people that are not following the rules. And yes, this has happening because certain low number of people, but it doesn't mean that we have to generalize everybody. It's like that is how things start. Not because I'm Latina, let me say, not because I'm Latina, I'm a gangster or trafficking drugs, or I'm gonna be a maid.
Okay, we get your point. I just want to say for everybody, it's okay to disagree. We've had a lot of meetings out here for various reasons, and there's always been debate. There's always been heated debate. It's okay. So I just want to say real quickly, everybody, just take some breaths and don't think this is like a horrible thing that's happening.
I want to say very quickly, please.
It's okay for everybody to say their piece on either side, and you don't have to agree or disagree with either side. It is okay that we will have these differences. I do want to move on with people speaking without wasting a whole half hour on people going on this endless debate of whether or not some groups of people are safer with or without the police. We've had this discussion at every large public session. So let's go ahead and have people speak, and everybody relax. It's okay.
Yeah. I don't.
There's somebody over here.
No, it's not. It's about Trump.
Well,
that's why we need to honor. And this is totally unprepared, and I think y'all can hear me because I'm a real loud mouth. First of all, I want to say I'm 60 years old, and my father fought in World War II in Germany against the Nazis. And as somebody pointed out to me just this evening, he fought in Germany against the Nazis, not in Virginia. So please let us fight against these people invading our country.
Yeah.
The second thing I want to say is I grew up in Virginia and South Carolina. We are not rednecks like those people portrayed us to be. They were people that were farmed in. Charlottesville is a liberal, college-educated community. It's a wonderful place to go. If you're ever on the East Coast, I would encourage you to go there. These were people who were farmed in to cause trouble.
Yep.
And I want to reiterate what the preacher said. Let us pray for the woman who died. And let us all remember, great spirits often encounter violent opposition from mediocre minds.
I want my 100 Nazi scalps.
Yeah, let's do it. Yep.
All right, in 1930, white, straight ruled and governed. In the 40s, men went off to war. And they fought side by side with people of other colors. And a spark of insight reached them. And they started to understand that we are all the same. But you have the status quo. How many times do you hear people say, it's just the way it is? So in the 40s, things changed. And then came the 50s. And another new generation, and they're like, I'm not going to tolerate this. This is wrong. And we had the birth of the civil rights movement. In the 60s, there were laws passed. Equal rights, desegregation. In reality, it didn't happen, not completely. There were places that were still segregated. Things weren't equal. They still aren't. And then in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, my generation, our minds changed, our eyes opened, and we knew that the status quo, just the way things were, wasn't right. And that people should love who they love and marry who they want. And there was a spark of light. And in the 80s and in the 90s, there was change. It should not take 100 years for this change to occur. We are 13 years away from 100 years from 1930, and still so far to go. But with each change, it started with the young, it started with the youth. So, I would like a round of applause for the youth here today who are fighting for this change.
How many of you have lost friends over it? How many of you had somebody say, no, guys, come on, it's just politics. Don't let that ruin your friendship. Okay, if we were talking about tax differences, where you say to yourself, okay, you're in a different tax bracket, and I don't want this kind of tax. I'm Republican because of economics. That's not what we're talking about, people. That is not what the problem is. We're not sitting here fighting back and forth about, oh, this guy stands for much better, like, I want to keep more money in my pocket. And, oh, this guy over here, he's kind of like a corporate chill. I don't know what to do. Like, what in the world are we fighting about? We're not fighting about that stuff anymore. People say, don't talk politics at work. Don't talk politics with your friends. Don't talk politics at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is real great at my house.
Where in the hell are you supposed to talk politics?
There you go. So where do you sit? Where do you target? Exactly my point. So we don't talk about it. How many of you had somebody who was surprised that Donald Trump won? Like, oh my God, how did this happen?
I just about thought
Everybody standing here today?
Okay, you people that went, oh my gosh, how did this happen?
Yeah.
How many of you beforehand had ever been to a rally like this? during the campaign even.
I was the admin of Bernie Cranston and ran over 100 social media sites. I talked to Jill Stein about 3 times a week for about 2 hours on end towards the end of the election.
Excellent. We need people to do that. Okay, but we need people like us to talk to the people that don't agree about this stuff. We don't sit and be quiet about politics anymore. You were talking about 100 years since this is, 1930s, this has started. I'm talking 400 years since we had people brought over on ships that died all the way, ripped from their families torn apart on plantations, and slavery just ends with the abolition of slavery. The slaves weren't freed with the abolition of slavery. Slaves went from being unpaid, shitty treated people to now we have to pay you and still treat you the same, but now it's against the law for me not to pay you.
That was when the mass incarceration prison system was actually first built and constructed.
That's right.
That's when Jeremy Bentham was alive and created the Panopticon. And the Panopticon was where a warden could see every single cell from one vantage point in the entire prison. No, they started mass incarcerating African Americans right after slavery.
So we're talking about how we've changed as a society, thinking that we've come so far. Have we? No. Have we? No. I'm white. I'm standing up here because I feel a responsibility, because this is bullshit, and I'm sorry I'm going to use that foul language, and my sign has foul language, and I literally cannot take this anymore.
Ah!
I'm a white person saying that that's not fair. But it's my voice, bringing up other people's voices. You guys were talking about the ICE detention center. You made a really great point that bringing other people's voices into it, because people don't listen to voices of color. People don't care when voices of color are shot by police. People don't care. And now we have us in here. This has got to continue. I look around here, we have a lot of people of color. We have a lot of people that are living that privilege that I live. I live white privilege. And I'm out here doing this because it's not fair that all of you get to have that same privilege. How about the white men here that are also living that privilege? I'm thankful that you're here because you recognize that people don't listen to you unless you are an old white man. Am I an old white man? No, I'm a young, loud lady who kicks and fights and screams, but I will continue to be that voice for the people that can't. And I'm so tired of it, I literally cannot take it anymore.
In Texas on the Air Force Base, and we came here. My dad went through some stuff, based on when I was born, and my dad was out. My mom, we didn't have cars, a lot of cars back then, but we would have to go to the back of the bus. I've had a blessed life. Do you hear me? I've had a blessed life. Being raised without a father. I forgave my father a long time ago, but I've forgiven him because this society didn't really allow him to be the man that he wanted to be, but he still loved us, but he couldn't be with us. So, but it really took a village. And the only reason why I'm here talking to you guys as a more than 30-year educator, public educator, instead of spending 20 or 30 years in the penitentiary, is because people like the Boys and Girls Club, like Jim Flodine, who was my mentor, who I wanted to be like, people at Booker Washington Community Center, people at Kinrock Community Center, they became, and my church became the family that it took to be the village that me and my family needed. So I'm, even at my age where I could retire, matter of fact, I let the district retire me a few years ago, but I'm teaching up in Madison right now, and I'm so happy to be there. But let me say this: what you're doing is good. What you're doing is strong. You're pulling in your voices. You're letting your hearts come out. But it doesn't mean anything until we come together as a people. That means when I'm looking around, we need to see more blacks here. We need to see more Hispanics here. We need to see more people here. And we must move. We must walk. We must march. We must protest. We must fight this insanity called racism, hatred, and bigotry. We must do it again. So all I'm going to say is the leaders here, the leaders, whoever put this thing on, get marches together. Get people together. Let's march. Let's fight against this. God loves every one of us. We're all children of God. I don't care what color we came from. what nation we originated from. We are all God's children, and we must stand together. And right now, when we got somebody like this guy in the White House, we have to stand together, and we must be on the move. That's all I had to say. God bless all of y'all.
All right. Sorry, I'm gonna. I would like to say, white supremacy is institutionalized in America, and of course, Trump has encouraged these voices. He has allowed them to speak, but this is not the beginning of white supremacy. Donald Trump is enabling these people to come out and say what they want to say, but white supremacy is ingrained in our culture. There's white supremacy in the LGBT community, which I am a part of. There's white supremacy in at communities like these, in the Women's March, in feminism. There is white supremacy ingrained in every social institution, nearly every social institution in America. And coming around, sitting in a vigil, arguing with fellow white people is not going to solve this problem. I'm stressed out because people think that people are shocked. People think this is a one-time occurrence, but it's not. You know, this is going to continue happening. And I'm 16. I'm scared to grow up in a country where racism like this is seen as, oh, just a bunch of friendly white guys gathering together with tiki torches because they're sad that the statue of a Confederate soldier is taken down. No, this is encouraging violence. And when people are encouraging violence against a community of people that are historically oppressed, you do not just sit down and come to one vigil and then tweet Black Lives Matter at your house every now and then. You have to come out. This can't end here.
Yup.
I love to see the support here. I truly do. And I love to see the discussion. But when people refuse to condemn the actions of police the other night, when people refuse to condemn the actions of other neoliberal politicians like Hillary Clinton, who once claimed that black and people of color were super predators.
Super, right? Yep, yes ma'am.
This is not started with Trump, and it would be a lot easier if it did, because that's just one villain that we had to fight. But we have to fight racist institutions in all of our systems. We have to fight white supremacy that's gentrifying our downtown Rockford right fucking here. We have to support institutions that think it's okay and it's just going to be fine. There's not going to be any community outrage when we discuss having an ICE detention center in our community. I wish I could say that I wish that this could all be solved by a friendly discussion, by tweets on Twitter and Facebook messages, and saying when we go low, they go high, or when they go low, we go high, but it won't be. Radical steps are necessary. As somebody who is young and who is living through this for the first time and has seen how historic events always violence is not always essential, but at some point it may have to happen if they continue threatening the lives of people who are... No social movement has ever done... This country is built on racism and oppression, and if we're not willing to fight that, if you are only willing to tweet on Twitter every now and then, or come and hold candles up and saying that you're in solidarity and your support, then that's not solidarity. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. Yes.
But you don't have to ignore the violence to get this
Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable.
And I agree with Dr. King.
Dr. King.
Dr. King was murdered.
Yeah, and I'm
He
willing
was
to die too. I'm willing to die
By
too.
the government.
I'd die any day.
But I'm not going to kill somebody else.
We're not
Thank you.
Dr. King spoke like that. A policeman is white moderate.
We're not saying you must kill somebody.
I'm not going to be
At this. Why? America was a nation that was founded on genocide and slavery. We have been walking around, traveling around the world for 240 years, committing atrocities and warfare and dropping atomic bombs on people.
He's right.
This is coming home to roost. This is who we are.
We're hypocrites.
Is it okay to go to Syria, Iraq, Vietnam, and kill brown-skinned people just so corporate America can become richer?
Hell no!
This is what's going on. This is what's been going on in South America, all over the world. Vietnam, name the places where we have been, and this is what we do. We have to change the way we do things. We turn around and become violent against the Nazis. They're going to turn around and become more violent against you. And it's going to be killing here, it's going to be killing there, it's going to be killing everywhere. When the hell are we going to stop this? Your sign, scalp 100 people. You been to war, young man?
I'm a Jew.
Good.
My family died in the Holocaust.
Oh,
I had family members
okay.
raped
Lay
and
that
banned.
guilt trip on me. My aunt was with the Danish resistance during the Second World War. I was in Vietnam. I had nothing to do with that. I deplore that kind of activity. Don't lay that guilt trip on me, young man. When are we going to change, folks? When are we going to stop this endless murder and warfare and killing of each other?
What's the solution?
What's the solution? We have to start talking to each other. We have to start loving each other. We have to start embracing each other. We have to start realizing...
And we pull together and march.
Hold on.
All right.
Let me
Do
finish.
not tell women to shut up who are offended by your refusal to...
I'm not offended. I'm with this guy.
This is a tough cookie, guys. She's not
And I'm sorry I told you to shut up.
Well, that's okay.
I got carried away.
Gotcha.
She's on it.
Okay?
I won't ever
sorry
shut
if
up.
I offended you.
Right.
But I'm willing to talk. We should all be willing to talk.
Yes.
I shouldn't have to come out here and raise my voice to a bunch of American citizens who have not understood the very foundation and the history that has made this country. That's where we failed.
Would like to share something that they find of vital importance. We were thinking of wrapping this up. We want to thank everyone for coming out here, and I think it's important to acknowledge that we're going to disagree in times like this. We're talking about really heated subjects. We're talking about people being murdered and people being targeted for being alive. So it's going to be one of those touchy subjects, but we encourage you guys to continue to come out for these types of events and intermingle, know your community members. Unless there's anyone else that would like to wrap this up.
Tonight at 9 o'clock.
Okay. Do you have a location?
It's supposed to be 10 o'clock Eastern time, I think it is.
Location?
Out in front of your house.
Oh yeah, for
Everybody's supposed to
sure.
put them out in front of their house. It's just to remember candles at night.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Oh, hey.
Oh, yes.
Here's a question. So for people who want to continue to fight racism, what opportunities are there in Rockford to join together with other people?
Okay, great. So we have a sign-up sheet going around that we can contact you guys if we ever have rallies like this or educational actions. There's also a Facebook page for Rockford Youth Activism. There's also another Facebook page for ROC, Rock Panthers, which is a nice anti-fascist, anti-police organization. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that don't forget that other way to fight back. Call your state representative, Congress, and all that, because you have that power. Call them, pressure them, because this been allowed, because yes, this is institutionalized. So don't sleep, call them. Don't vote for them.
Other things that you can do locally to help out in fighting racism is, first off, educate yourself. I mean, we all know a little bit about racism, but do we know about the different types of racism? I mean, personal racism is one of the most commonly known one. That's like the neo-Nazis. But then you have institutional racism and... But I'm sorry, I'm still learning myself, so please forgive me for that. Hopefully coming up though, there will be some classes open to the community that will further talk about how to be anti-racist and form anti-racist organizations, which is more like a tactic within your organization, or like a form of culture, community within your organization, than like the purpose of your organization.
That sort of dangerous type of rhetoric gets activists killed.
And it takes you.